looking today at Judges chapter 15. In Judges chapter 15, it opens up and we're continuing the story of Samson, of course. And in this story, it's the time of the wheat harvest. The fields, unlike these fields, which are normally planted with potatoes or soybeans, sometimes the fields would have been ripe for harvest. And Samson has married himself a Philistine wife. We heard that in yesterday's story. And after the great scandal of their wedding party, the celebrations after the wedding, when he told a riddle and his wife found out the meaning of the riddle, and then it cost Samson a little bit of money. Actually, it cost him a little bit of effort and 30 men their lives. The story then carries on where Samson, after his wedding, wants to go visit his wife. And so he goes to where she is, but his father won't, her father won't let him in. And he doesn't understand why. He didn't know that at the end of the last chapter, with all the big scandal that happened at the end of the wedding ceremony and celebration, that his wife then was given to the best man at his wedding to become his wife. He didn't know this. So hearing this news, Samson rightfully would have been quite angry. Not only had he lost faith in having his riddle discovered, and that his wife was the one who told the answer to the riddle, but now his wife was given to another man. So he was rightfully angry. He didn't... So then the father-in-law said, why don't you just take her younger sister? She's prettier anyhow. Remember we learned that Samson saw that she was a beautiful woman, and he said to his father, go get her for me because she is pleasing to my eye. Samson was only thinking at the surface level of the outward appearance. He wasn't thinking about this woman and having a heart for God. This Philistine father thought the same thing. He recognized that was all Samson cared about. Samson then, in his anger, went and caught 300 foxes. Now that takes a little bit of skill. Foxes are pretty fast. They're pretty... throughout Prince Edward Island, we see foxes all the time. And I don't think I could catch one if I tried. Well, he managed to find and catch 300 of them. Then he tied their tails together in pairs, tied a torch to the back of these foxes that are tied together at the back end, and lights the torch. Now come take a look. So here we have, come on in close. Here we have a fox. You can see his head, the teeth, the eye sockets, the backbone, all the way down to the tail. You can see a little bit of the paws right in here, nice and gross. The ribs. The tail has very little bone to it, but the tail is big and it's fluffy. Mostly it's just hair. Tie a torch to that tail and man, you've got a good thing going. 300 foxes running through the fields. Remember at the beginning of the story, the wheat was ripe for harvesting. The fields go up in flames. The Philistines recognize that their food for the winter is now gone. And they were angry, and rightfully so. So they went on attack. The people of Judah then became a little upset when Samson went hiding in their territory. And so the Philistines were ready to attack a city in Judah. The city's name was, I can't remember, didn't write it down, sorry. So the people of Judah were asked by the Philistines, hand Samson over and we won't attack your city. The people of Judah then went to Samson and said, it's you or all of us. What would you choose? Samson said, I will turn myself into the Philistines. Bind me up, but promise me that you won't kill me yourself. They bind him, take him to the Philistines. The Philistines think they've got their man. They think they're going to get their revenge. Instead, just like throwing off flax, Samson throws off the rope that is binding him, grabs the jawbone of a donkey, just a bone, like those bones that we saw over there with the fox, except a little bigger. And he goes through and he uses it as a weapon and kills 300 of the men. Samson was a pretty sinful guy. I don't see too many redeeming qualities in his life. But God used Samson and his sin to accomplish his greatest purposes for his life. Sometimes you and I are caught in sin, but God's plans will never be thwarted for our lives. God's plans always will work out. It may not necessarily be God's best. What would have happened? What would Samson have been like if he had chosen to simply obey all of God's commands? A question we'll never know. Have a great day.